That's right, you are now listening to Tommy Tom's One Mic. Warning, this podcast contains explicit language, triggering or sensitive topics, and controversial discussions. Thank you so much for tuning in to Tommy Tom's One Mic.
I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, flip personality, you know it's I. You never seen my kind, never seen a sliver or a slice. I'm the butcher, choice cuts, know I'm nice. You got beef? I got waggle with a knife. Now I'm gonna be wrapping up bodies up at night. Like Ray Charles, y'all know I'm out of sight. Now I'm gonna be slaying niggas, cause you know I love the life. Yo, you gotta read between the lines. I'm only gonna be moving when I'm read through all the signs. Johnny Mnemonic, I got an upgraded mind. This is for the rebels and the revolutionary minds. Cybernetic linguistics, you know I'm on my mind. Prototype the new dimension, man, that shit is mine. Future is creation and creation is sublime. Make your own legend, only happens with time.
Let's hit the mic.
Hey guys, welcome back to Tommy Tom and One Mic. And today, we're going a little deeper into the football realm. You know, for the last couple episodes, I may have had some of my fantasy football patrons. Wow, I really can't speak English. Participants, my fellow participants in my fantasy football league. I can't have any of them on my show anymore because every time I do, I lose my fantasy football game. But doesn't mean I don't want to talk football. So thinking to myself, who can I get to talk some football? And looking in my past, I realized, you know what? I actually know a Bills fan. And amazingly, the Bills are out from the darkness into the light. There's Bills Mafia. They're throwing each other through tables. I'm sure this man, respectful coach and all, is not doing such things because he's a good guy. But folks, I bring to you one of my first college friends, Mr. Bill Creed. How you doing, Bill?
Going great. How are you doing?
Good. As we were talking before we got on, it's been like a decade since last I saw you.
Yeah.
You know, there's one thing like I remember sticking out, and it's just like a moment. It's probably like one of those first, like, I guess, hangouts was freshman year in Whitaker. I don't know why. I think me and Dave, we just decided to just open our door and just like kind of sit in the hallway and catch people as they were like walking by.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you were the first person to come and join us as we sat there and just chopped it up and whatnot. And it's always a fun memory to me. Granted, we were probably not in the right dorm to do it because, and probably in other dorms, there would be more people passing by. But we were all in the international dorm, so it was like all the Americans just got together real quick and were like, "Hey,
yeah,
how you doing?"
Yeah, that was I'll say very culture shock right off the rip, right? You go into college as a young kid, 18-year-old kid at the time, young men for us, and then we're in the international hall out of nowhere, and you got people from all over the world in there with us. It's like, holy smokes.
Now, did they just put you in there? Because I know Dave and me were both idiots in the sense that we thought we actually had to choose one when they gave you the choice of what dorm to choose. And so we were just like, you know what, this one seems cool. Whatever, we'll take this one.
Yep. Yeah, because I thought if you didn't choose one, you were going to get a terrible placement or something. So yeah, same deal. I can remember my mom being like, "Hey, you gotta choose something here." So I chose Whitaker. I'm like, sure, this one. And here we are, however many years later now.
And of course, the first thing, that always sticks out about you is, of course, football. Probably growing up, I was a 49ers fan, but that was because Steve Young was the only worthwhile Mormon athlete that I knew. And, being raised Mormon is like, this is one guy I can root for and be like, hey, man, look, there's an athletic Mormon. Other than that, it was the tall white guy from Space Jam. I think it's Stephen Bradley or whatever. His career highlights are just people dunking on him. It's not exactly the best representation. So, but I didn't have I guess you could say, love for football. But you were all about it from the get. We had a failed attempt, I guess you could say, of a flag football team that we tried to do.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about that.
Now, I think in our defense, is we're all competitive people. It's like, oh, you have the friendly league and then you have the competitive league. It's like, yeah, we'll do the competitive. You got the team together. You're writing up plays. I think all in all, if we were in the non-competitive league, we would have been fine. but freshmen in college walking onto the field, and we have like the varsity rugby team waiting for us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Complete difference.
Which is actually really funny because after that game, I started talking to those guys, and that's when I played rugby for a couple semesters too in the spring with them, just to kind of stay in shape. But yeah, that did not go well for us. Mixed bag of
No.
people trying that league. No.
It's like after the first game, I think we all just kind of looked. It was like, yeah, we're not ready for this. We are not ready for this.
Mm-mm.
But you did do rugby. I remember, I think maybe it was Dave and Littleman and me. We went out there to go watch your first game or whatnot. And you ended up knocking a guy out. What is it? You were one of is it the wings? Is that the one,
Yep.
the guys at the end?
Yep. I played winger. I was usually on the left side, and I remember what you're talking about because I put my shoulder through a guy's face. He went in high for a tackle on my shoulder, and he knocked him out cold. I think it broke his nose too, but that was fun.
That was it. My just memory is like Dave on his side. Oh, he's loving this. He's loving every.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's the contact. I think that was like the first sign, I guess, of your notebook of like little plays and stuff that you were just like already beginning to jot down and everything. Like, I guess I never really asked you what really, I guess, sparked that love for football, because I think like most kids, they have like sports and stuff that there's a clear love for. A lot of people, I guess from our generation, there was like baseball or whatnot. So I was just curious, why was it like football for you?
So like that would just go back to my father. He was for some reason a Bills fan, right? To go back to the Buffalo Bills for a second. And just growing up, like some of my earliest memories with him were actually watching the Bills in their Super Bowl run, their 4 Super Bowl runs. I can remember the last 2, not very vividly, but bits and pieces. I think the Dallas game in particular, just sitting there watching him and watching the Bills in the Super Bowl, not really knowing what's going on, but that association of like football and my dad. And then it just carried through like every single year. We watched more of the Bills. I got more interested. And then in my community at the time, oddly enough, there wasn't, in our direct community, there wasn't a flag or like Pee Wee football out there because it was out east on Long Island at the time. And this is early 2000s, so not as developed and, let's say, upscale as it is now. It was getting there, but it was on the way. So there wasn't a lot to do, football wise. So our town didn't have it. And of course, my mom was like, no, absolutely not. You're not playing football. It's too dangerous. And that fueled it more, man. Like it made me just every chance I got, like watch it on TV, just be around it any way I could. If I ever saw a football helmet or football stuff in a store, I always like drawn to it. But like, that's where it started, probably with my dad and watching the Super Bowl with the Bills playing Dallas.
As I also said prior to recording, you are a bit of a unicorn, being, from Long Island, not being like a Giants or Jets fan, but you have the pride as, I think my friends kind of converted me, in a sense of like, I gained a respect for the Bills through watching your love for them, that it was just like, all right, that's a true fan. He's sticking through everything or something. Like, essentially, I make fun of our friend T-Baz because he's a Mets fan. I was like, there was a time, the Bills were like the Mets of football for a little bit there, where it's just like,
oh yeah,
you could watch the game and be like, you're doing good. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen.
Yeah. And I got to be honest with you, that feeling is still there every game I watch now. Like, because they're on the right, like they're doing great. Thurman's done a great job with them the past few years. And it's like every time they're up or the game gets kind of close, you're like, oh, shoot, here we go again. It's just that feeling of like, please don't go wrong. Please don't go wrong. It's almost eerie. But yeah, it's crazy now that where they've come to. It's awesome.
You have to overcome the PTSD of like most of the, because like I think with 49ers, I may have had a little, but it's like in the beginning of like you have that like that high. It's like you guys got it to the Super Bowl. Like you can remember those like early days. And then it was just like nothing. So now it's like the glimmer of hope. You don't have like, I guess, the tease that like my 49ers have of like, okay, we'll get that one year and then we'll drop back down. And then it's like, oh, we get that one. Oh, we drop back down. It's you guys got that guy, Josh Allen, who, got picked up before I could pick him up in fantasy, but he was my first choice. First game, against Pittsburgh was a little scary,
Yep.
given the deal with Pittsburgh, but, they've stepped it up. And really, what can you do against Derrick Henry? And I'm not going to lie, that was my first round pick. So I kind of had to root against you, buddy.
So I bet you were happy when they played him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because Russell Wilson was my quarterback. So I've been in a bad place. Like I said, I can't interview any more of my fantasy people anymore because there's like a curse that is just like, oh, there it goes. There goes my team. But I guess I know you would always have like a notebook. Do you still, and given that you are, spoiler for a little later, he is a coach now working in the football teams. Working in the football teams. Wow, my English.
Yep.
I wasn't an English major. I was a writing major. So,
Big difference, right?
Maybe speaking not my best suit, but hey.
You always made that distinction. Different worlds.
Different worlds. But do you find yourself still like watching the games and like having that? I'm not going to even say having a hard time. I assume you can't keep yourself out of like looking and being like, no, you should be doing this. What are they doing? What are they doing with this play? No.
Yeah. It's very hard to turn off, like I think most people find when it becomes your job, when your job's your passion, it's a blessing, right? You get to do what you love every day. But when you're just watching, it's hard to just sit back and watch and just take it in for what it is. You always think, well, why this? Why that? Was that the right move? What are they doing comes to mind sometimes, but you gotta, trust the guys that are doing the job, because when you're doing it, you hope people trust you are doing it too. But yeah, it's very hard to turn off. But you were asking about the notebook, like that's going constantly. I have many now. Any playbook I can find, I just download them, get them online from people, whatever it is, and just go through them, see what they got, to see what people are doing, how because the game's evolving constantly. Or in particular, like you look at Brian Dable, the OC for the Buffalo Bills, he's got something drawn up every week for somebody, like one or two gadgets, and it's constant, and it's just awesome to watch. It's fun. So yeah, that notebook is getting quite big.
But you gotta have like a bunch of them just like stacked up and like, all right, which one do I want to look at? Do I need to tweak? I'm sure you're always tweaking something on those and whatnot.
Oh yeah, constantly.
And it's like, it's fitting because I know you were a wide receiver, and of course, while we were roommates, you tore the ligament in your thumb, which kind of ended your season, but you still stayed positive, and that like you would still go to the sidelines. You would still be like checking out the meetings and stuff. Like that's where it's like, it's not surprising. It's, it's admirable that like seeing how you were and being like, yeah, what else would he be doing? What else would he be doing? There was a clear path as to where you were heading and whatnot. You stuck it, and there you are now. Now, what exactly is your, I guess I could say, your position in the Maris football team?
So I am the pass game coordinator and the wide receivers coach. So pretty natural path. Although if you saw how I got here, couple D3 stops first. I stopped for 3 years in sprint football, which was kind of just my way back in because I got out of college football for a couple years. Took 2 teaching jobs, lost those due to budget cuts, and one in New York down Long Island, and then one in New Hampshire. So then I found myself staying in New Hampshire and coaching sprint football, which was absolutely wild because the weight limit was 175 pounds on a football team, which is insane. Even linemen. Yeah.
Wow. I guess it's pretty high speed. I don't know.
So the speed of the game is just consistent, right? Like your linemen are mostly as fast as your like running your backs or your linebackers, your receiver types a little bit, but yeah, very, very crazy game or different game than, the ones we see on TV most often. But yeah, sprint was a great time. So I worked for a guy there who actually had a connection to the Maris football program, and, just through word of mouth, got involved in Maris. So I came on as a safeties coach my first year. Then in a crazy turn of events, our D-line coach ended up leaving. So the DC comes up to me one day, I think it was maybe a month or so before the season got going, maybe 2 months. He's like, hey, I need a D-line coach. I'm like, all right, let's go find one. He's like, I'm looking at him. I'm like, are you kidding? Me, I had always worked in the back end, receivers, safeties, corners, that world. And I'm like, now I got to talk to guys and teach them how to put their hands down and be D linemen. So that was absolutely awesome just to learn a different side of football, to get more out of the defensive side and really learn what they try to do to stop you offensively. And then the following year, our offensive coordinator moved to the running backs coach, and the head guy gave me the opportunity to take the receivers, and I've been there ever since. So for the past 4 years, it's been awesome. Yeah, work with those guys every day is blissful, man. It's great.
And I bet working on the defense, because probably for most of your life you've been on the offensive side of the ball. So this getting a different look probably contribute greatly just for, I guess, having a different mindset where it's not just so offensive based, that it can help you actually improve your offensive play calling and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think until you go and coach the other side, your understanding or your thinking of what they're trying to do or their mentality is just very different, because you don't know what you don't know. So like you see stuff defensively and go, oh, they can't actually be doing what I think they're doing, or like that can't be right. That's got to be a mistake. And then you go work on that side of the football for a few years. In my case, I spent 6 years on the defensive side at different places, and you just learn so many different things. You're going, oh my God, they scheme just as more, if not more than the offensive side. And some of the stuff you're seeing defenses do is by design. It's to bait offenses or quarterbacks into poor decision making or bad throws, or it's crazy. Just the chess match is real, and for me anyway, until I was on the other side, I didn't really appreciate it. Yeah, now it's being back on the offensive side. It's okay. Here's what they're trying to do. Here's their mentality. This is what they're running. This is how you beat it. So it's been helpful for sure.
Now, have you used any of our old plays from our flag football years? Anything from that notebook?
Absolutely. Sweep reverse pass. Let's go, man. Gotta have that one. That's a staple.
Of course. Now, of course, so you've been coaching at Marist for how long?
This is year 6.
6 years.
Yeah.
I guess even after, it's probably still a little surreal, I guess, for you, just the whole journey and the position that you're in now, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely is, because anyone that's in the profession or trying to get into it knows there's not a lot of positions available, let alone full-time ones that'll keep you there and have benefits for you too. So where I am, like, I'm in the great position where I have, good salary, I have great health benefits, takes care of my whole family, my wife, our 2 young kids. So it's truly a blessing, man. And you wake up every day and you're coaching football. You get to spend time on a football field or in a room chalking stuff up or writing stuff on the grease boards. It's blissful. You can't beat it.
Now, I'm sure, having kids and a wife, I'm sure there's some times that you have to be reminded to turn the football off. I'm only assuming from, I guess, my assumptions from my knowledge of you, that I am certain there are times that the football has to turn off and Papa Bill has to come.
Yeah. Every night as best I can when I go home. And thankfully, I live about 35, 40 minutes away from campus. So I have that drive to kind of decompress and get over it and shut it off. So when I do walk in the door and the kids come running up, daddy, 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 the dog is, just the whole family scene is there. And it's like, okay, this is family time, spend time with them, reading books, put them to bed, and then up early in the morning, away you go again. But yeah, it's important to put it away for a little while too.
Now, I guess in years at Marist, you've probably had some intense games and stuff like that. Was there a game, I guess, that like really stands out to you that was just like emotions, everything was just like, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm ready, let's do this, yeah. I guess that whole hoorah kind of attitude.
Oh yeah, so it, oddly enough, it happened just this past week. We played Morehead State, lost it was a game in which there was 6 lead changes, so it was back and forth all day. At the end we just ran out of gas. We just couldn't hold it out for the win. We were up in the 4th at one point, and then we just couldn't hold it out. That was a real hard one. That was one where, because we're both 3-0 in the conference at the time. Now we sit at 3-1. They sit at 4-0. So big conference title implications there, and just you're so into it. There's it just keeps building and building and building and building, right? That boxing match, but you're going back and forth, the chess match, whatever. And then when the clock hits zero and you're done, it's like all the air comes out of the balloon. We've lost. Like I just felt defeated, man. I was like, oh my God. I felt like I ran a marathon. I just had nothing left in the tank. Our players more so, like, right, they play the game. I just got to sit and watch and talk a little bit, but
the emotional dump, like essentially of everything just culminating. I can only imagine, like I said, I can only imagine because I remember when you were injured, could see you still pacing on like the sideline, even when you weren't playing. So I can still see, it's like, he's doing the same thing when he's on the field or something.
Well, I pace up in the booth now.
Oh yeah? Oh, you're up in the booth.
Yeah. So my time here, I haven't been on the sideline yet. I've been up in the booth. But yeah, whether it's a small booth, big booth, I walk around constantly. I'll sit for like the first half or so, and then second half, I'm just pacing. Just let's go.
I can't imagine probably the excitement you have doing this and whatnot. Like I said, it seemed like it was a sure thing that this was going to be what you were supposed to do, I guess you could say. And it seems like you're on a nice upswing going along with your Bills team, so it's got to be a good thing. Now, we all know football clearly is the number one sport. Have you passed that down to the kids?
Oh, yeah. So my son, every time he sees football on, Daddy Bills. He's 3.5. He'll be 4 fairly soon. But he's got a little Josh Allen shirt he wears every time we watch the Bills play. So, or he sees football, or he's always asking if he can come help me at work or help football at work, when I go to Marist. So he's all into it. And our daughter, Katerina, she's not quite 2 yet, so still pretty young, but she'll not be not far behind.
But you're instilling it young. Bills Nation. Of course, you will teach your son not to throw himself or others through a table, I would assume.
Obviously, yes.
Obviously. How do you feel about, I guess, this like upswing of Bills fans, where it's like this wasn't around when we were in school and whatnot, and we were relatively like upstate. I mean, if you're from Long Island, anything not in the city is considered upstate. But I mean,
oh yeah,
we were close enough to like Buffalo and I believe it was your brother. He went to Buffalo, didn't he?
Correct. Both my siblings went to UB.
Right. So it wasn't a common thing, but now it seems like there's all these Bills fans, and part of me is like, where did they all come from? So I wonder for you.
So you hit on it earlier. I don't think so. I think most, like 90% of Bills fans are actually true diehard fans. Because to be a Bills fan, we talked about, like you said, like the dark ages, like past 20 or 20 minus the time since Sean McDermott's been there. Those were tough times, but I think all those fans were there because if you were a Bills fan, you stuck it out. Like and even fans before us, right, before Super Bowl loss, like they're still fans to this day. So I think 90% of it is our true fans. I think you have the bandwagon fans. It's cool to be a Bills fan now, or the borderline, the fringe people will just root for them because they're on prime time and they see them now more. But I think that fan base is, as you said before, that fan base is special, man. They ride or die with them, and it's constant. Like it's either you're in or you're out. There's no in between, because there's other Bills fans I think would agree if you watch them every week. Some of those games, like if you just watch the last 2 minutes, you know exactly what happened in the whole game, and it's the highs and lows are insane.
Oh, I bet. I think about Bills fans in general, they're not New Jersey fans, if you catch my drift, as they have to be proud to talk about them. Like I was thinking about it the other day, I was like, well, the Giants and Jets, they all have to say they're from New York, but the Bills, they just say Buffalo. That's that, it's that kind of pride or whatnot that it's fitting, the quiet one, and now they get their time in the shine. I'm sure no one was more happy when Tom Brady left for Tampa Bay than them. And it's like, finally, the East is ours.
Yeah. I mean, this may be just like the football or the competitive side of me, but when he left, I was like, damn it, now we can't dethrone him. We got to see him in Super Bowl and get him that way. Or, but yeah,
it will leave for the naysayers. They're like, the Bills are just that it's by default. Tom Brady's not there. That's
Right, exactly right. But you see what he's doing now at his age in Tampa Bay, and you're going, okay, this dude is the GOAT. Like this guy, like what we're seeing, what we've seen in the past, however many years it's been in the league now, it's no mistake. This guy is legit, and he's showing that you can play the game at a high level at an older age, and you see what he does week in and week out. It's just you give him a minute and 10 seconds, cool, calm, collected, got it.
Does it make you want to go out there and catch some footballs again there, Bill? You ready?
Absolutely, man. Come on. Yeah, it's impressive. Like, you saw him, his 600th touchdown he just had. It's like, okay, standing alone at the top of the mountain. Like, it's very Jordan-esque, Wayne Gretzky-esque, right? The guys that we grew up when we were younger, getting to see on TV, like, just dominate their sport. And he's doing it. It's awesome to see. Thankfully, he's in Tampa Bay, though. I'll say,
We'll
see him in Super Bowl.
No, I think it's like one of those, like, maybe at one point you didn't like Tom Brady because of the Patriots and whatnot, but at like the end of the day, you're just like, he's too good to really hate. I can't really hate you. And probably him going to Tampa, and now it's Tampa Tom. I love Tampa Tom. He's so much fun. He's so much more fun.
Some of those memes are great, aren't they?
Oh, so great. And then him and Gronk have like a little show on YouTube that they do together and stuff. Tom and Gronk, and they're just chilling with like their feet in a kiddie pool and stuff like that. I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy. You got to have respect for it. We are reaching a nice little halfway point. Then when we come back, I would like to ask you maybe a little about the family life. If you've converted the kids. Have you converted the wife yet over to the football? Or does she just love you? We'll just leave it at that much there. And then, of course, I have my football questionnaire, I guess, my questions for you. See what your take on the game of football is. But I think we'll get into that right after this. And we're back. Hey, y'all. Hope you have been enjoying our football dive with Mr. Bill Creed. And, of course, as I've stated, Bill, one of my college roommates, one of my first buddies up in college, and a diehard Bills fan and whatnot. Now I kind of teased it before we went to break. I'm just curious. The kids are easy. The kids are usually easy to get on board. Daddy's cool to them. Question is the wife always happy with the football?
I'm going to say I think so. She doesn't like it when I yell at the TV. That's about the extent of it. But no, she loves it. She really does support me in everything I do, and she knows how important it is. So she's 100% with it. So if she just loves me or she truly loves it, we'll leave it there. But yeah, she's ride or die. It's awesome. And thankfully, because she's from New Hampshire, right? So she was a Patriots brat when I first met her. Which is just like, okay,
the irony.
Now she lives and dies with the Bills every week. She cheers harder than I do sometimes, which is awesome to watch. She's still a Red Sox fan, unfortunately, but that's baseball. We can leave that one alone. But yeah, she's with the Buffalo Bills now. She's part of Bills Mafia, which is great.
The Bills Mafia. That's right next to the kids. Next proudest moment. Converted wife to Bill's Mafia.
Check the boxes, man.
No, that's great, man. How long have you guys been married now?
So we got married in 2017, so 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, it moved pretty quick. So we met in 2014, call it February of 2014, somewhere in there, March of 2014. Just started hanging out. I was working, coaching football at Franklin Pierce University in Southern New Hampshire, and I was also doing some part-time work because I was only part-time coaching then. So I was working at a ski mountain. I was a snowboard instructor and a bartender, and I met her on the slopes one day, and just we hung out, hit it off, and as they say, the rest is history. And here we are.
Marriage and 2 kids later.
Yeah.
Can I ask if there's going to be any more along the way? Any more planned? Gonna get you guys your own football team set up there?
Unfortunately, I think we're done. We like the ability to play man defense if you catch my drift, we won't have to play zone
Yeah.
and zone divide between, two defenders between three kids. No,
Yeah.
man, defense is the way to go, I think. So we're okay with two.
As the single one without kids, I always, from my, of course, expertise, expert type of view, I always viewed it as you never want more kids than the home team, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
In there. You don't want to be outnumbered.
Yeah. Younger me I thought I was at least 3 or 4, like, yeah, just kids. And after having 2, I'm like, 2 is good. 2 is very good. We hit it right on the head, right? We got a boy, so son got to pass on my name, so he's he's the 5th, which is crazy. And our daughter, like, we have a son and daughter, so we have one of each, 2 kids, 2 parents. We're good. Like, check the boxes, man. We're all set.
See, that's something I didn't know. I didn't know that you were like the 4th. I guess the 4th.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I'm the 4th, so little guy is 5th. Keep
that going.
Yep. So I passed the burden on to him.
It's your name to carry now, kid. I did my part. I got you here.
Absolutely.
You have to finish the rest.
Yeah, I wasn't ending that trend. No. I mean, yeah.
And how's the rest of the family doing? Of course, family and whatnot.
Yeah, brothers are doing really well. They're both thriving in their respective careers, taking on more every day, and they're doing exceptionally well. My mom's doing okay. We actually lost my father over about a year and a half ago. So he was working on a car, died of a heart attack. So he was gone before he hit the driveway. So that was a very, very tough time. Thankfully we got to see him a little bit because it was during COVID, but we saw him kind of like right before it happened. But yeah, so mom's doing all right. She's having a house built right now, about to finish up with that. So she's kind of turning the page, getting on with life. But yeah, it's not been the best year on that front, unfortunately.
No, I'm sorry to hear that. Of course, 2020 was a year. It was definitely a year. I think that's one of the things. You lose contact with people sometimes. So, I think that's one of the bright spots, like we were talking about, I guess, before we went back to recording, of me doing this sometimes. It's like you get to catch up and see people again. That I think as we get older, sometimes you start to, I don't want to say get reminiscent of the past and all that, where you start looking back too much. That I'm not that old. I don't think you're that old either. Like you said, you're ready to get back on the field anytime.
Tomorrow.
You get enough injuries one day for the Mariners game, is put me in, coach. I'm sure you. I can do it. Just give me a jersey.
Yeah.
So, but you look at things differently. We all go our separate ways and stuff like that, but there's just those certain memories that you just don't forget. I still have a shirt on my door, actually, with these letters FRA over there, hanging over my entrance door to my apartment. So that one probably only 2 other people besides myself, maybe one I'm talking to, and another one who will probably be listening to this know what that's about.
Oh yeah.
So,
some great times. Oh my goodness. Now,
good times.
Speaking of parents, real quick, when we were off, you talked about your parents. You said Georgia, was it?
Yeah.
What prompted that? How are they doing?
They're doing good. We moved down there. My dad, he just retired. Guy's been getting surgeries on his knees for God knows how long. So it's kind of good that he's off his feet. Occasionally check on them and whatnot. Mom, she's still working in school. She's working with special needs kids and stuff like that, helping there. And I think she still teaches a little piano. Yeah, they get by. I got to pick on them. I mean, my mom's still on my phone is the midget, little 5-foot Colombian. I'm going to put that in there. Please, anybody listening, don't cancel it. That's just a joke between a son and his mom. Okay. So, seriously. And look,
the sweetest little lady. Oh my goodness.
That's what everybody said. And then my dad, he's the old man on my phone and whatnot. So it's, my dad found memes and TikTok. I guess he just found TikTok. So he's sending me messages of little TikToks and stuff like that. So, it's retirement, and finding technology. And it's one of those, I just see it as like, oh, Jay Prang sent you a message. I just look at it for a little bit and I was like, I know what it is. It's not even a message. It's just, he sent you a photo. It's like, it's not a photo. It's a TikTok. That's what you're sending me right now. God damn it, Pops.
Hey, but you know what? At least you still can connect with him, right? So
Yeah.
enjoy it while you can, man.
He's a funny one. I guess in like the little separation and stuff has been good. I haven't been able to see them in like the last 2 years. No, that usually when I did shows up here, they'd actually come up for the shows and whatnot. And I've told it before on a couple episodes. The funniest thing is always when I go up and I do one of my sets. And, I'm much less PC than I am right now with you on this. So it's always people who have known my parents or knew me before, I guess you could say college. They're always like, I can't believe you said that in front of your parents. And my parents don't care. It's old. It's like, I'm in my 30s at this point. They know a lot of what I've done. So me just telling them more, they can't ground me now. So,
Nope. No, they can't.
it's always fun, but, I do wish best for your family. Upswings always happen, downswings, they come and go. And, they're just tests to see where you can go and ultimately, make you stronger in some ways and stuff like that. I'm glad to see that, because you talked about, you worked a couple teaching jobs and stuff before that, and just the whole journey to actually get into essentially the dream kind of position that you were always kind of working towards. It's commendable and stuff like that. But it's time for you to, I guess, develop a little hate, maybe some love, because, as I said, it's my fantasy football season. All right. This is most important time of the year. Okay. As a coach, I don't know, you probably don't have much as an investment in fantasy, but
nope.
you have
Go
the
nowhere
insight.
near it.
Exactly. But you're the one with the insight. You're the one watching the game, the analytics and stuff. So I'd be remiss if I didn't try, use you while I got you here and stuff.
Yeah, come
and
on.
some of your input and stuff like that. Now, as I stated, I'm having a couple QB problems here. My Russell Wilson little finger problem, and all that. I'm looking at these young QBs out there and stuff like that. To you, what QB, maybe not as obvious. Of course, we know your boy Josh Allen coming in. So I guess I could ask, who do you think is going to be the next Josh Allen?
Talk about a loaded question, huh? Because Josh Allen at the time wasn't, when he first came in, wasn't necessarily the next Josh Allen.
No, he was actually rated behind in his class. He was like pretty low. I think Daniel Jones was actually the most favorite one coming in.
Yeah, it just goes to show you have an idea based on what they do in college, and then it's up to them when they get there. But as much as it pains me to say, man, just look at the Patriots again. Look at Mac Jones.
Oh, Mac Jones.
Look at, like, you see his progression and his progress from week one to now, and it's night and day. Like the young man is helping them win football games, drives, and like you look at their last week's product where they put 50 plus on the Jets, and he looked good doing it, and you're like, okay, this guy's going to be good too. So I think he's one that's going to be good for a long time coming. Should he keep progressing the way he's currently?
No, keep talking. I'm checking my waiver wires.
You better have priority. If he's available, you better take him now.
It's all right. I picked up Joe Burrow. So
yeah, he stay healthy and get a good system. He's another one. He, on a national level, right? Everyone saw what he could do. When they won the championship at LSU, and he's another one. He's just gotta. I think it's the right fit. I think that's a good part, or big part of it, quarterbacks too. The correct system, the correct offensive coordinator, and the weapons around them there. Because at the end of the day, they're just one person on an 11-man unit, and it takes all 11 to get it done. So there's lots of parts that make or break quarterbacks, especially young guys.
Now we got to go down, I guess, your lane of expertise. You were a wide receiver and all that, wide receiver coach now. I guess to you, I want to ask, who is the best wide receiver? I want to ask, which wide receiver are you telling your players they should probably check out the most?
probably a cop out answer being giving my loyalties to the Buffalo Bills with Stephon Diggs, man.
Funny.
But yeah, Stephon Diggs, you watch some of the routes, some of the suddenness that he has in his gameplay, and a lot of our guys, they're always on Twitter and Instagram checking things out and posting stuff. The other guy that comes to mind is Adam Thielen on the Vikings. Like, oh my goodness, he's again the suddenness that he has, the double moves that he does in the red zone. The matchups that they allow him to get offensively is just incredible to watch. You see this guy two-step at full speed and make the defender take 3 extra steps, and he's back inside and he's scoring easy. It's really fun to watch. And up until recently, I was really enjoying watching Antonio Brown again because down in Tampa, he's just been doing very well down there, especially with Gronk being hurt. He was kind of the go-to guy for Brady, and now he's got a little injury thing happening, so he's kind of tapered off a little bit again. But he's explosive when he's cued in, man. He's dynamite to watch too.
And to any of my fantasy cohorts who are listening to this, I didn't pay him to say that. He did just say all my wide receivers that I have on my team. Legitimately.
You're a smart man. I have all 3 of those too, by the way, if I was to play.
I do this. And I will say that with the injury to Antonio Brown, I did pick up Emmanuel Sanders too. So, I went full Bills wide receivers for there. Because I know he's been killing it and whatnot.
Yeah, he's been lighting it up because they've been queuing Stephon Diggs defensively, and they're giving him some favorable matchups on the other side. So that's a good one.
Yeah. Trying to survive till Russell comes back in week 9. All right, so this one, not so much fantasy based, but like I know for myself, people ask my favorite football team and stuff. And of course, I say my 49ers, but there's, during those dark times, there were other teams that, I was like, I know my team's not going to make it to the Super Bowl. So what's my backup team or so and all that? And for me then, the first Super Bowl I really remember watching was the Panthers versus New England. Thus my hatred for Tom Brady began, oddly enough. So, it was a nice switch to love, And then, I was a Drew Brees fan, so I had my Saints. So I guess for you, what would be, I guess, if you weren't a Bills fan, what would you be?
Probably the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't know why. Always enjoyed watching them for some reason. Maybe it goes back to my father because he kind of enjoyed them too. So I'm sure that's kind of where the influence started. And then you start getting into the world of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid when he got there, and taking bits and pieces from every offense kind of under the sun, like the West Coast that Andy Reid runs so much of, and then it's sprinkling in the RPO world and some other stuff too. You watch it and you go, okay, that's impressive. Not to mention when you have the offensive weapons that they have, when they're firing on all cylinders, it's just like, okay, pick your poison, man. You got Kelsey, who's a machine. You got Hill, who's speed demon. Okay, who you block, who you taking, who you locking up here because the other one's coming open, and then Mahomes just no look passes. Right, you think he's going left, he throws the ball right to a wide open guy sitting in the hook seam area, and you're like, okay, how? I mean, they're fun to watch. So yeah, it would be the Chiefs for sure for me. And if I needed a third team, whoever's playing the Patriots still to this day. There's just not a Patriots fan. Yeah. Respect the hell out of what they've done and what Belichick's done. Not a fan.
The respect thing.
Yeah.
I guess that leads into the next question, of course, is like, no, you love your job at Marist and all that. But if there was a team from the NFL just looking for, good wide receiver coach or something, besides your Bills, I gotta exit out the easy answer.
Yeah.
What team are you looking at that is like, oh, that would be not only I'd be a good fit for, but I could learn so much from that I want to.
So one of 2 places comes to mind for like self-growth. The first would be, like we just talked about, would be the Chiefs. I love that offense. The West Coast it's a similar system to what we played in Cortland at the time during our time there. So there's some roots there, some common terminology, so there'd be a comfort, as well as the introduction of all the new RPO stuff that a lot of people are running, and they just don't seem afraid to try new things. The other one I would have to say would be probably the Vikings. just to work with receivers like Thielen or someone like that, just to see what these guys can do and see the game that they get, because they, like I said, they manufacture one-on-one matchups in so many different ways. Schematically, they do a lot of really fun stuff. That would be another fun one, I think. But at the end of the day, if someone's looking, you take a job, right? Like, those calls don't come often. So if I'm ever lucky enough to get the opportunity, wherever it is, absolutely. And if they play the Bills, I won't be a Bills fan on that Sunday.
That'll be the only day,
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, gotta respect it and all that. Let me see here. Is there, because I guess you didn't really touch on it, but you do travel for your job. I believe, as you said, you're in Minneapolis right now.
Yeah, correct. So we're playing against St. Thomas tomorrow. So yeah, our schedule this year is I'll say a good one, because we alternate home and away every other week. So it's not like we're on the road for 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row and missing my family every weekend for a better part of a month. So yeah, travel's pretty good, but we travel really well, and it's really nice because you get to see different parts of the country.
Now, do you have have you had a favorite stop or a favorite visit place that you've been to yet?
Absolutely, San Diego. Oh my goodness, beautiful. Because no matter what time of the year we go, because we play into November before Thanksgiving come around. So those later months, end of October, this time of year, beginning November, Northeast get a little cold, Midwest can get a little cold. San Diego, nice and warm. That's it. But they got a beautiful campus, and there's the views from their campus and their field are pretty stunning. So San Diego's probably my favorite one, to get on a plane and go, because I'm usually never on the West Coast either. So so it's just fun to see a different side of the country, literally, put your feet in the other ocean.
Now, of course, for your playmaking mind, what do you think is like one play that maybe to you isn't used enough in, I guess, football, or something that you wish was maybe implemented a little more? Because, I say this based on, a lot of people talk about how this is a passing league. And, my first round draft, Derrick Henry, I'm like, hey, man, just give that guy the ball. I don't care. I like pounding the rock. So, I guess, you're a little more involved with it. There's something you're seeing that you're like, oh, back in my day. But, there's like certain things you're like, oh, man, I wish we would have done that. Why don't they do that anymore or something?
But and it's not something that doesn't get used a lot anymore, but because it's still used. But I love trap. I don't know why. It's a little deceitful and it's old school in the way it presents. And you could trap. You could do wide trap, tight traps. You could trap a nose. You could trap an end. You can trap a D tackle. Whoever you want to trap, you can do it. And if you get it right, it hits like a truck. And that guy has a longer day because he's looking for trap the rest of the day, and then you can get outside him on the edge. So as far as like run game stuff, I'd love to see trap. Every time I see a clip of trap, I'm like, okay, or wham, call it a puller coming from the inside and whacking or from the outside in, whacking somebody in the teeth. Those are plays I love to see. Like you said, it's a passing league first, and air raid all day, every day. Let's get it out, get the ball in the air. But something really fun to see, just smash mouth football. And I love trap. Like I said, trap's one of my favorite.
Thinking back to like our college years, I think one of my favorite like things about college football was the overtime rules. Like, I think our first quarter to like maybe 4 overtimes just because one team would score, then the other team would score. So we got to keep it going, because each one got a chance or something. Are there any like, if there's like maybe a rule or something that maybe you wish was in place, or maybe wasn't in place? Not fully, but I think you get what I'm kind of trying to say.
Yeah. So at the college level right now, I think they have it in a really good place. So it used to just be, at one point in time, it was just endless drives, call it from the 20, you get the ball in 25, deposit 25, you drive it in, you score, the other team has to match you. If they don't, game over. So not quite sudden death, equal opportunity rules there. What's in play now is, the third overtime and above, call it the third round and above, it's just one play. So it's a 2-point play. So balls right up against it. is right there, and it's one play, give it your best shot. And it alternates 2-point attempts until someone gets it and someone doesn't, and then it's like that walk-off situation. So I think that college has it in a really good place now. So like you mentioned, safety there. I think that addresses a part of it because you're limiting it to at one point, one play, one play, one play, one play. So however many rounds it goes. Now you just saw a couple teams past few weekends go into, you had 5+ overtimes in a game that went to nine overtimes. So, those are 9 plays instead of 9 whole drives or series, which is, I think, a little safer and a little less taxing on the body. The NFL one, you like go back to Bills quit, you saw it against the Titans, right? So like Sean McDermott goes for it on 4th and goal there. Like, okay, yeah, let's get this, right? Because if you get it, you have a great shot at winning the football game, a better shot if you kick the field goal and go to overtime. If you lose the coin toss and Derrick Henry rips off a run and scores one and scores a touchdown, it's curtained, it's ball game, right? So I think on that end, really calculated, like a good decision to go for it. But I think in the NFL, not having true equal opportunity is one thing I would like to see change.
Do you have like a favorite player to watch? Like I was saying, I was a Drew Brees fan, which made me a Saints fan. And you got Matt Damon. He's admitted that he's a Tom Brady fan, not so much a Patriots fan. He's followed Tom to Tampa Bay. Do you find like maybe a player that maybe isn't a Bill, but if you see them playing, it's like I still want to see him do well.
So yeah, if it's not a Bill, Tyreek Hill. I mean, just the guy is so electric and so fun to watch, and his size, his stature, and depending on who you talk to, like, oh, someone that size can't play high level college football, can't play in the NFL, and this guy's just proven that wrong every single time he's out there. Previously, like in yesteryear, call it, or earlier in life, it was Wes Welker, right? You have a guy like 5'8", 5'9", white receiver who's just really great on his feet, has really good cuts, really good route mechanics, and does a great job at finding space in holes, and schematically they dial stuff up for him on the Patriots, and like he was fun to watch. I will say my favorite receiver now is Stephon Diggs, but I started watching him and seeing him really because of Thielen in Minnesota. And watching their clips, and then watching the two of them together was awesome. And then when the Bills went out and got him, I was over the moon there because I'm like, okay, great, now I get to cheer for this guy on Sunday and the Bills at the same time. So blessed there. But yeah, like those are some of the receivers I love to watch week in, week out.
Now, I also touched earlier on you tearing the ligament in your thumb. Curious, from your playing days or whatnot, what was like the worst injury that you've gotten, I guess, playing?
Worst one would have to be the ACL.
Oh,
so I got my ACL later in life. Still playing. That sucked because that one, because once your knee goes, it's never truly the same. But you can get it pretty close. But that one was definitely worse for sure.
How'd that go down exactly?
Like freak thing. Just tried to do a 2-step cut, just playing it too hard on a slant. Foot got stuck in the turf, and I ended up just twisting a little too far, right, with a straighter leg, and it just buckled.
Were you playing in MetLife?
No, I wish.
That was just a bitter 49ers fan talking there. I'm sorry.
I know. Anytime you see those, it's unfortunate. But yeah, that's one of those freak things. Just let go. The hardest part is you run around, you move around, you feel like Superman, or you feel like you're invincible moving in your own body. After that happened for me, I had to like relearn how to run, how to cut, how to plant, and how to like build trust back up in my knee. And I think anyone listening that's ever done a knee or anything major in their body, like similar, would agree. Is when you have to build that trust up, it's such a hard thing to get through sometimes, especially if you have pain in there at times.
Yeah, I think you always hear it from like any athlete that has to come back. It's not so much the rehabilitation, it's more of like the physical part. It's more so a mental thing also of gaining that confidence, because it's now in your head that, oh, I can't get hurt or something. It's like any visions of invincibility that you may have had beforehand. It's like, oh, I'm not Superman. I can break.
Yeah. And until you do it, I don't think you understand, or I'll say appreciate, what it truly feels like to do something like that. Because when you feel it go, it's just a different world of, oh my God, what just happened to my body?
Yeah, man. Well, Mr. Bill, I have kept you long enough. Now you're out there. I'd like you to, you probably have to go through your notebooks, do a little writing in there too. Don't want to take you, but usually at this part of the episodes, let the person, if they have anything that they would like to plug, maybe plug some of your Marist games and all that, where people won't be able to see you pacing around in the booth, but now they will know that whenever there's a Marist game, there is one crazy Bills fan probably marching around his office there, unable to sit still.
Yeah. So if anyone really wants to watch us play, or see us on game day, GoRedFoxes.com. All of our games are streamed through there, or links to ESPN3, so anyone can watch us at any time and maybe catch a glimpse of me if they shoot a camera up to the booth and see me maybe try to jump out of it or something, pacing around up there being silly.
Yeah, just wait for a bad call to happen, and if they have that, he will be the one banging on the glass that the other ones have to tell that, Bill, sit down.
Well, believe it or not, I've calmed down a little bit. I'm not as enthusiastic as I used to be in my early 20s. I'm a father now. I gotta cool it. I gotta take a chill pill here and there. Hey man, it's been awesome to catch up with you. Like we opened with, it's been too long, and just finding out that we only live an hour from each other now, we got to reconnect at some point.
Yeah, I drove my way. Like I said, I thought you were down in like Westchester. I didn't know you were like that way.
Yeah, right near you.
So, but hey, if you guys are listening to this episode, please hit that like, subscribe, or whatever's offered to you on whatever platform. Just let them know you like the episode. If you like to talk to me, if you want to tell me how great your football team is and why maybe Bill should switch over to, I don't know, maybe the Dolphins. That's a joke. Yeah, I know. We can just laugh. Laugh at that. No one wants to be a Dolphins fan. But, if you guys want to hit me up, you guys can do so at the TommyTom88 on Twitter and TommyTomP88 on Instagram. Bill, like you said, man, it was great reconnecting and all that. And guys, thank you, and we will catch you all next time.
I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Flip personality, it's I. You never see my kind, never seen a sliver or a slice. I'm the butcher, choice cuts, know I'm nice. You got beef? I got waggle with a knife. Now I'm gonna be wrapping up bodies up at night. Like Ray Charles, y'all know I'm out of sight. Now I'm gonna be slaying niggas, cause you know I love the life. Yo, you gotta read between the lines. I'm only gonna be moving when I'm read through all the signs. Johnny Mnemonic, I got an upgraded mind. This is for the rebels and their revolutionary minds. Cybernetic linguistics, you know I'm on my mind. Prototype the new dimension, man, that shit is mine. Future is creation and creation is sublime. Make your own legend, only happens with time.